Hello and welcome to Janet in Italy, and I have lived in Italy for more than 2 decades. In this video, I take part in a Presepe Vivente or living nativity in our local Tuscan town after making a skirt for the event. And if you watch through to the end, you'll find an alternative Christmas lunch idea, as well as a view of my Christmas table this year. So get your favourite warm, cosy drink and come and join me. Well, as I mentioned in my last video, it's been very busy recently, all ready for Christmas time and our party that we had. But also, we're very honoured to be invited to take part in the Presepe Vivente, which is a living nativity, where there are artisans and craftspeople. We dress up in old costume, and Mary and Joseph, we have the nativity story. Mary and Joseph walk through our old town and eventually go to the very top of the town at the Duomo, which is the church at the very top of our nearest town. And then the baby Jesus arrives and there are fireworks. It's just a lovely occasion, very cold normally. So we're very honoured to be invited to this occasion. And we did it last year. I took my spinning wheel last year. My daughter came along and did some knitting, and we were sat in a little doorway in the old town. People went past, took photographs, asked lots of questions, and it was a very nice time that we had. And this year we were invited to come back. We had a different place opposite a nice local restaurant, and so there were more people going past. But we didn't have a decent costume. Last year it was very rushed. We just used what we had in our wardrobes to try and dress in an old country folk kind of a way. This year we left it to the very last minute. We had thought about it a week or two earlier because we've just been so busy. I've been doing decorating and renovating and preparing for our party. So anyway, what we decided to do, we went to IKEA, and they do sell very, very cheap blankets there. And we just bought a couple of blankets for about €3 or €4 each. I said, I'll just make these because they look very country, not refined, let's say, very country, a bit more rugged around the edges. And I'll just make a skirt each because we'll have layers of shawls on the top to keep us warm. And we just need something to look kind of a rough and ready country skirt for country women, let's say, who didn't have any money but worked the spinning wheel in the knitting. So anyway, this is what we did. But I'm just sewing it here. I kept all the fringes on because I said to my daughter, well, we can just undo the seam and we'll have blankets, cosy blankets. We don't necessarily have to keep them as skirts. But we might do, and we'll have them ready for next year because they've already been invited to next year. I did a simple elasticated waist, so I sewed in a channel to put the elastic, and I just sewed the elastic together. Didn't do it particularly tight because we had layers to tuck in to keep warm. So this is just me putting one of them together, and I did 2 the same, because my daughter and I are more or less the same size. It actually looked quite effective on. I'll see if I can get a photograph of it. We didn't take any, we were in such a rush because this was the day of the event, so I had to make 2 of them. I'm in my studio, which is wonderfully clear. After having our party, we cleared lots of stuff out, tidied it up, and it is really inviting at the moment. So I had a lovely time sitting at my sewing machine, making my outfit for the Presepe Vivente. But while I was making my skirt for the Presepe Vivente, it allowed me time, because it was quite straightforward, to think about my year's craft and sewing projects. I haven't had as many as I'd hoped because of my renovating and I was working. There were a lot of factors. But my sewing, I realised I haven't bought any new clothes this year. I don't want to buy any clothes. If I want or need anything, I will make the clothes in a natural fibre. I realised that I hadn't sewn as many outfits as I'd anticipated because I just don't need them. It's just as wasteful when you're sewing clothes that you don't need as it is buying clothes that you don't need. And I don't want to live that way anymore. So whilst I can sew clothes that I need, I can also do them in the style that I need and in a way that will fit me better than the ones I can buy in the shops. So I do need a crisp white shirt, and I have the fabric for that. I will be making my white shirt in the very near future, and I'll keep you updated on my progress in future videos. But it was a really good time when I was making this outfit for the special event, to reflect that sewing your own clothes is not necessarily sustainable if you're not doing it for the right reasons. It's a hobby that I enjoy, other people enjoy. It's a hobby, but it's still very wasteful if you don't need the clothes. In my opinion, that's just what I think. It doesn't reflect on anybody else. But for me, I don't want to stuff my wardrobe full of clothes that I've just done because I fancied the idea, and I'm not going to really wear them. But anyway, on with the outfit. If you've enjoyed this type of video, slow living, simple life in Italy, please feel free to subscribe. It'd be very welcome, and come back next time. Some people have asked me how they can support my channel, so if you'd like to, there's a Buy Me a Coffee QR code in the corner above. Thank you. And there is the finished skirt, just being held up against my waist, but not a proper photograph. I can't promise, I'll try and find one. Obviously the Presepe Vivente took place just before Christmas on the 23rd of December, and it takes place every year. It's a demonstration of how life was once upon a time, not in biblical times, but some years ago. We had a lovely time. I took my spinning wheel and we walked through the old town to our little spot and got comfortable. We saw lots of friends go by and had a little bit of catch up on news, but what I really liked was lots of people are interested in the spinning wheel. It seems to hold a fascination for people, so we were able to talk to people about it and show people how spinning is done. Lots of children were interested, which was wonderful. We then followed the procession through to the pinnacle of the town, which is the Duomo, the cathedral. It's not a cathedral in the sense of a big cathedral, it's a church, the big town church. And everybody gathered there, waiting the birth of the baby Jesus. And he was born. And then, unfortunately, my daughter started getting a migraine, so we just had to come home. We missed the very end, but we were very close to the very end of the evening. I just wanted to show you a sweep of I call it a sweep, swept along with the camera for my Christmas table. This was our table on Christmas Day in my studio. We always eat in here. We have a lovely blazing fire going and my Christmas pie. Now, in case you don't know, and you probably don't, I'm vegetarian. I have been for many years. I make a vegetarian option for our Christmas lunch. It is a Rose Elliott recipe that I've been doing for many years, many years actually, since before my children were born. It's chestnut and red wine pâté en croûte. I make it with chestnuts, onions, a bit of garlic, a couple of mushrooms, breadcrumbs, and a bit of wine, which I boil off the alcohol. And then I put it in a crust of my special pastry recipe, short crust pastry, but it's my own recipe that I've refined over the years. Nobody else knows it. I might share it with you one day, but it absolutely just melts in the mouth. And I do a sweet version of it for mince pies too. I did have, when I was young, the most wonderful mince pies ever, cooked by an old lady who worked with me. Millie, her name was, and she did the most exquisite mince pies ever. But I have to say, since I have refined my pastry, I think even my pastry recipe is better than wonderful Millie's recipe. My vegetarian pie is served with the usual Christmas Day vegetables. Well, in my house, with roast potatoes. We love sprouts, carrots, and any other vegetable that we actually fancy putting on the plate. This year it was broccoli because my son likes broccoli. And vegetarian gravy, which again we love. And then our usual pudding is Christmas pudding, and then we follow with mince pies. It really is a feast. We do make Christmas cake, but we have that in the evening. And I'll see you next time.